candidate.
Right, okay. Joining us on the phone now from Manhattan is George. George, your thoughts or your comments?
Yes, thank you very much for taking my call. Anthony Weiner is a rageaholic. His staff has pointed this out numerous times. And coupled with the fact that, you know what a pisha is? It's a little penis. And I think Anthony Weiner is a little pisha.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
But the thing of it is that rageaholicism in the mayor's office doesn't work. Whether the fellow sends copies of his, genitals to somebody he doesn't know, that's a little crazy. But when you start screaming and yelling at people if you don't get what you want, I think that's very dangerous.
George, I appreciate your comments. It's very, again, we've had
Quinn is the same way, by the way.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting. A lot of people, they meet their politicians, and I've been in elective office now for with God's help and my community for 30 years plus. And, I know a lot of the characters out there, the people in public office, people who come across very nice to the public and very sweet, and people say, oh, isn't he or she so nice? And then I know, as you pointed out in some cases, people who can be very nasty and very mean-spirited, that they're very different. They can be very not nice, to say the least, to their own staff, be insulting, be degrading. But publicly, it's a whole different image, because if they do that publicly, George, they'd be in trouble, right? I mean, if they behave
that... The thing of it is that what they do in public is simply for the public. In other words, there's no stress there. It's just a matter of presentation of self in everyday society, But what they do every day, I don't know anything about Weiner's relationship with his wife, and I think the rest of us don't either. But it would seem to me, I studied Hebrew philosophy and religion. I majored in it at a Dutch college. Okay. My mom has a tree named after her in Haifa. I have yet to meet a Jewish person that has adopted the Islamic community to the extent that Weiner has, and at the same time, he's running around after other women. And, it seems to me that that's not what a Jewish person does.
Okay.
He doesn't live that way.
George, I appreciate your comments very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, George.
Dov, I got to tell you, we could spend a half hour about these two comments. We have a guy from Borough Park who's not sure about Weiner. And, of course, listen, at the end of the day, a lot of people might feel he's the lesser of the evil. Who knows? But is prepared to keep his mind open and possibly consider. And then you have George from Manhattan, who's not even talking about the main issue is not what Weiner got himself into trouble for. He's talking about other things. He's talking about his personality.
His character, right.
And that's not stuff that most people are even aware of. But one day maybe in a book, some of the people that just seem so wonderful, if people knew, how they behave towards their staff, etc., they'd be absolutely astounded.
Joining us on the telephone now is Yaakov from Midwood. Yaakov,
Yes, hi. I just would like to edify the last caller. I think his name was George, when he spoke about Weiner being a member of the Jewish community. Truth being told, halachically, Weiner is not Jewish. His mother had a non-valid conversion, so he's not a member of our community, unbeknownst to many people, number one. Number two, electing him will invite the Muslim Brotherhood into City Hall, because her, meaning his wife's brothers and sisters, living in Saudi Arabia, are all members of the Muslim Brotherhood and Sisterhood. I don't think we want to see that in this city.
Let me ask you a question. How do you explain that in the polls, with everything that is out there about him, his behavior is just, it's beyond comprehension. Look, people make mistakes, and we can move on from those mistakes, and we should move on. But this behavior was so bizarre, so grotesque, so beyond our comprehension, because I don't think any of us really understand. What was that all about?
He's an exhibitionist. Well, there were no computers. Well, you know what people like that did 50 years ago on the street. That's exactly what his problem is.
So how do you explain, in the latest poll, 17% of the people are ready to vote for this guy? Does that say something about the other candidates? Do you have a favorite yourself, by the way? I mean, or someone that, if you were voting tomorrow, who would you vote for?
That is difficult because I'm going to be voting the Republican ticket right down the line.
Okay.
So no one on the Democratic ticket meets my standards. I'm sorry to say.
No, listen, hey, look, you're entitled to your point of view. No question about it. We very much appreciate your phone call.
Thank you.
All the best to you. We're